What I am going to record our little chat, if it's 15 minutes, if it's 20 minutes, if it's 30 minutes, whatever it turns into. But, I'll give a few minutes for people to join if they'd like to. This can be interactive and it can be just me chatting for a little while, just kind of read the room, right? See what everybody wants to do, what everybody's able to do. So, what I'll do right now while we're waiting to see if anybody else wants to join is kind of give a brief recap of what we talked about at part 1. And I'm going to try to bring up that PowerPoint just to give an idea here. Again, just touch on it briefly. So I'll bring that up and then I'll share screen here. Everything's running really slow today. All of the internet everywhere I've gone has been super, super slow. All right. Not trying to be overly, there we go. Now I get to have the fun of sharing my screen and making sure that I do it right. Hi, Pam. So what I'm going to do is just kind of go over this overview of the last or first talk. You guys know me. Everybody who's on right now knows me already. What I wanted to do is introduce something based on blue zones and longevity and the different ways that we were finding people living into their hundreds. And it really got my attention after watching a docuseries that was put together by Dan Buettner. He is a National Geographic photojournalist, and then he goes around and just explores the world, and he's found several areas that they call blue zones that have the largest percentage of centenarians in that region. And so I kind of talked about that. It gives us a lot of information about the power we have over our own aging. It gives us some clues into what allows people to live longer. It's not only genetics. And I'll share a little bit about things that help you live longer. So kind of a little summary here. Again, I'm not going to go through the whole PowerPoint over a long period of time because we're going to focus on one area tonight. But what they found most impactful is a predominantly vegetarian diet, more fish, less meat, limit alcohol. They said that in the longest living areas, wine was generally drank on a nightly basis, but only 1 or 2 glasses. It was not overindulged on. Another tenet that they follow is this phrase called hara hachibu, which means to eat only until you're 80%, leave the rest. And it's actually disrespectful in that culture to eat everything. They want you to kind of leave a bite because you've overdone it otherwise. Need to move every day. It's not just going to the gym and sitting on a machine. It's intentionally moving and using our local terrain, our everyday work to build muscle, to strengthen ourselves and build endurance. So many of us are stuck behind a computer screen or at a desk all day and we don't get to move. So anywhere you can get intentional movement, go out on the Conza and hike, park far away, hand push mow your yard, don't ride on a tractor. All of the things you could do to get more steps in would be great. Finding your purpose. This is called ikigai in Japanese. And this is essentially finding a meaning in life and having a strong personal conviction to seek it out and live it out. Purpose is one of those things that I talk about with my clients very often, especially when they're feeling stuck and stagnant. In these areas, people put their loved ones first. They had a deep connection with multi-generational families. They prioritize time with elders, which keeps the elders young because they're involved in the day-to-day living. They're not stuck in homes, stuck in the corners, away, out of sight, out of mind. They also make friendships that are meaningful and close. Belong is what we're going to talk about tonight. Finding meaningful relationships helps with our purpose and helps us to feel accepted. If you belong in your tribe, it usually means you're around like-minded people. And so you always want to put out your vibes so that you can attract the right people to be in your sphere. Stress release was the next thing. A finding in these areas that live longest, they found that people had more of a laissez-faire attitude about problems in life. They did not perseverate on them. They did not fixate on them. They had much lower incidences of anxiety, because it was kind of the que sera, what will be mentality. You can't change it. So why are you going to overreact to it? If there's something you can do something about, then do it. It's very pragmatic. So they found many of those regions had that type of thought processes. On top of that, they also had strong either faith beliefs where they did prayer, meditation, and went to different services, or they were participating in communal meditations or relaxation. So that's kind of the basis of the ongoing longevity series that I'd like to put together. And once a month, I'd like to speak on one of these. In each of those, we're going to talk about how each of the activities can contribute to a healthier life and help you live your fullest life. We'll talk about your environment. We'll talk about access to healthy food and water. We'll talk about healthy body composition, stress relief, nutrition, and nootropics, which is kind of cutting edge plant-based medicine that I am all over right now. Speaking of which, drinking my immune support chaga mushroom coffee because it's good. So again, I'm just going to go through here. Some of these other things we will talk about in future visits, so I'm not going to continue on those. So let's see here. So we've got a few folks. I'm trying to stop the screen share and it won't let me. There we go. What I would absolutely love, because tonight we're going to talk about belonging. Over and over and over in my visits with my clients, I hear people feel alone. They feel like they are the only one that has their problem, that nobody understands them, that they don't have anybody to talk to, that it would be so much easier if they had a tribe to face these battles that they're going through with. So I'm going to challenge my other folks who are on here to turn on your camera so we can make eye contact with each other. And because this is about belonging, I'm going to say what I feel about each one of you, but I need to see your eyes so you can receive it. Anybody? Sheila's brave soul. Did I just scare everybody off? Does everybody know how to turn their camera on is the next question. On the top right under view. There we go.
Yes.
Yeah,
we're trying to figure out how to turn the cameras on, so bear with us.
Sure. Yep. And I see some people may not have a camera, so I can still talk to you. But Pam, if you can unmute yourself and introduce which Pam this is in my life so I know who I'm talking to. All right, I see Craig and Bill. All right, so I'm going to start here with who I can see. So Carla and Evan. What I want to do is thank you for being in my life and creating challenges for me to learn from. You have given me some of the most interesting interactions on somebody that has a long-standing history and who has been doing all the work for a very long time. So I want to thank you for that.
Thank you for being there, listening to us, and giving us new ideas and showing us some things that we haven't done right.
It's always a constant learning process. Just the way I did things, a year ago may not be the way I do things today. every time I listen to a new mentor, every time I read a new book, every time I have a new podcast, and you bring those to me as well. Have you heard of so-and-so? And so I'd love to have the interaction and interchange of knowledge. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Let's see here. Let's see. I have somebody I'm just going to reply back to, and Sheila, and it's Matthew, your husband, right? I know you're on camera, but I want to
Yeah.
thank you for being fresh to our clinic, new to our clinic, but bringing this vitality and energy and spark with your excitement for the possibilities and the options that we're learning. So I want to thank you for that, because it lights a fire in me as well when I see excitement and the new vision of hope that you maybe didn't have before. So I want to thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And Bill, I haven't seen you in a little while, but you and your lovely wife have been strong supporters of my practice for quite some time. And I'm so excited that you're here to listen. And I want to thank you for your ongoing support and seeing your success as you continue to do all of the things you need to do to age happier and healthier and live longer. Craig, you're another one of our newbies to a certain extent. I want to thank you for your excitement, your energy, and your flat out honesty. You are another one of those that is a spark and a fire lighter, and I am trying to become the mover and shaker you think I need to be in order to get my message out even further. So thank you for that. And Pam, if this is the Pam I'm thinking of, I also want to thank you for your ongoing support of the practice and your trust in my care. And I want to thank you also for being an information sharer and an investigator and open to trying new things. So I see each of you, and I'm so grateful for every one of you being here today. What I'd like to do is talk about belonging. Last time I presented with a PowerPoint, and bless their hearts, it was, minus 12 degrees. It was snowing. It was miserable. There was ice. Everybody had one eye on the window and a hand over their mouth because they were yawning. So I did not prepare a PowerPoint tonight because I'm also rethinking and relearning how to interact with people and how to share what I have to say. And I recognize that it's not always going to be just plain education and statistics. That has a place, but not necessarily in all of this learning. So if you hear me like lisping and saying my S is really funny, I'm going to thank you for your patience while I learn how to talk again with retainer braces. So I feel like that's been a fun adventure. I listened to a recording I did the other day and I couldn't help but laugh. But belonging is the first one that I wanted to talk about, because each of us, it is an innate newborn need to belong. There are studies of babies in orphanages in China and Russia who are just left by the hundreds in a room in a cradle or a crib with a single staff person, and they're wrapped up and the bottles are propped and they're never held, they're never cuddled, they're never interacted with, they're allowed to cry, so they quit crying. They give up. They know nobody's going to come to them, so they just quit trying. And I have had the fortune to have known people who grew up that way. But it's also very sad to me because I see their adult inability to form trusting relationships. So what I want to impress upon everyone is that we are at the cusp of, it feels like a new world. The last few years have kind of rewritten how we interact with people, and so many people isolated and moved away and didn't interact. I blame that on why I lost my grandfather at 96. I believe he could have lived another 4, 5, 6, 10 years. I don't know, but he suffered government directed neglect because he was left alone. we were told that the right thing to do was to stay away from our elderly so we didn't infect them. So he didn't go to the senior center, and he didn't get regular meals, and he did not get my mom to go just hang out with him because she was so worried she was going to create illness. So what ended up happening is his kidneys failed. He quit eating, which gave him urosepsis, which made his mind go. So they thought he had Alzheimer's when he went to the hospital, and he was the sharpest 96-year-old you'd ever meet. He gained 30 pounds in 4 days when they rehydrated him in the hospital because he was so dehydrated. He didn't have COVID in the hospital. We transferred him to a nursing home. They wouldn't allow us to hug him, kiss him, get close enough so he could hear us because he was deaf and, mostly deaf. But the nurses could pull their mask down and yell in his ear to get him to obey them. And he died of COVID a week later from being in the nursing home. So I don't want to see that happen again. What I want to do is encourage each and every one of us to reach out to our loved ones, first and foremost. If you don't have a great relationship with your family, because not all of us have a great parent or great siblings. And if it's something that's forgivable, forgive your family for it and try to move forward. But I would challenge each of you to find your tribe so that even if you don't have any blood family left, you never feel alone. Because that's also something that many people that come into my office suffer from, is the lack of a sense of belonging. My patients in whole health are a unique bunch. What I would love to see happen would be to have groups here support each other, either with common conditions or common interests. Things such as a group to share healthy, gluten-free, dairy-free recipes, so that it's not just my recipe book that you get emailed when you have questions, that you guys can try it. Maybe you get together and have a Sunday dinner once a month and everybody make their favorite dish. I would love to see people that are suffering from GI distress and other belly issues get together to kind of support each other, because that can feel like a just desperately lonely situation when you feel like you can't go anywhere or you can't eat anything. And if we can create that community for our members, I think that would be fantastic. The other thing I think we need to learn how to do for each other is support each other spiritually and mentally. Physical support is great. Commiserating is great. What I don't want is the whole, oh, your elbow hurts, my knee's been hurting for a week. Oh, wait, my left big finger hurts and my neck is sore. That becomes, that comedic cartoons that we used to see in the Sunday funny papers with the 3 old ladies lined up on the bench and everyone complaining of a different body part. But what I would really love to see is that positive support and the giving each other grace and encouragement to get through that hurdle. One of the things that keeps people from doing the things that helps them feel better is that, a phrase that I heard this week was, well, I love fixing food for my friends and going out with my girlfriends. I don't want to be the one person who can't eat what we're eating. I don't want to be that person. What I would love to do is see more people that know what the food problems are, come together and support each other, and maybe create a social context that way. So Manhattan, I came from the Kansas City area, lived in the suburbs around it. I didn't interact with a whole lot of people, but there tended to be different interest groups around. I feel like in Manhattan, there's so many insular communities, you're either in it or you're not. You're either from here or you're not. And I'd love to see a little bit more interaction in the groups that have interest. And so I know this is just a small number of people. 2% actually, we just turned 300 members this week. And that's not counting the 100 that come in for only functional medicine or only bio-T. So that's another, we've got 400 strong here.
Wow.
So we have a large community that I think could impact our other members and the community in a ripple effect. And Craig kind of pointed that out to me. So I appreciate that, Craig. He's like, people just don't know about you. How are you going to get your word out there? What are you going to do? How are you going to advertise? What are you going to say? Where are you going to go? And so my brain is just spinning. So I want to thank all of you for making me feel like I belong, because I'm definitely a black sheep in the medical community here. I have tried to intercalate into those communities to share what I know. You have to have fertile soil to share a message. When you're pouring on concrete, not a whole lot gets absorbed. Maybe some of it'll trickle down a crack and feed a little lonely flower off on the edges. But in general, the medical community is not very open to the way we do things. So anywhere that I can support you and your community, I'm here for it. And anytime you want to bring a community in to experience what is offered here, or to have a conversation about functional medicine or aging or any of that, I would like to also invite you to initiate that, and we can get something put together. The folks who tend to show up tend to be the same dozen or so people, and that's okay. But what that means is those dozen people, they're seeking community. I need you to go out and bring your friends, bring your family, bring anybody that you want to learn about this, because oftentimes kids won't listen to parents. Parents won't listen to their kids either, but maybe they'll listen to somebody else. And so I would love to have anybody who's up for it share what brought them here and how they feel like they belong. Is anybody willing to do that? Because I'm all ears. And how can I make more people feel like they belong if you have any pointers?
I think the biggest thing is that a lot of people are so caught up in the Western medicine, and they don't understand what direct primary care can really do. And that having been at another direct primary care before yours, Dr. Tilley, yours and theirs is night and day difference. You have so much to offer, and you, not only because you want to teach people how to get well, but and how to live a healthy lifestyle, but also all these things that you're doing to help people, help others even. And so I really appreciate this. This is a wonderful idea. And I talk to people all the time about, nutrition and health, and direct primary care is the way to go. I think the biggest thing is what I see is they're stuck in the insurance and Western medicine mold.
Right.
That's hard to get them out, but doing what you're saying, where we can bring them in and you would talk to them, because sometimes I think they think I'm just kind of crazy.
I think any of us that have that tendency towards being different. So I was talking about my human design. Not everybody believes in astrology or Chinese I Ching or those kind of practices, but I have studied my human design. And my human design is I'm a projector, and what I'm here to do is teach, witness, and guide. And I feel like I am living in that purpose. I really do feel like I'm hitting that mark. Can I do better? Sure. I also have this 3-5 splenic line. A splenic constitution is somebody who functions intuitively, somebody who goes with their gut. And I can tell you, my gut has never steered me wrong. I've always let that, like, it's a God thing. If I listen, I go the right direction. If I don't, it makes it really hard. So I do believe that. And what the 3-5 line is, the old text calls it a martyr heretic. So somebody who has to experience the hard way and goes against the grain. The newer versions talk about an experiential learner. Okay, same difference. I still have to go through all the hard so that when I learn the hard lessons, I can teach it to somebody else. So I have gone through a lot of life situations. I've had a lot of personal illness, but every single one I take, again, as a gift from God so that I can identify with other people going through the same thing. So that it's never a situation of not knowing or being blind to the severity of what people are going through. It's not, I haven't had everything. I'm not, knock on wood, I've never had a heart attack. I've never had a stroke, but I've suffered paralysis. I've had tachycardia. I've had palpitations. I've had to have heart medication in the ER back before I knew better and was taking care of myself. I have been through quite a few, autoimmune diseases and other conditions, which from a very early age, back injuries, back surgery, difficult pregnancies and deliveries, it has set me up to be that guide for other people and to be the empathetic ear, not just to, oh, I'm sorry you're going through that. It's like, I don't know exactly what you're going through, but I've been in a similar situation and I can identify with what it feels like to have something going on that nobody understands.
Mm-hmm.
And so, sometimes I'm rambling and I forget what my main point was, but, I do think it's that martyr heretic is learning things. The heretic is the change maker. All right. Biblically, the heretics get a bad rap because they were going against the Jewish law. But in this day and age, I want to be a healthcare heretic. I do not want to go with the common ground. I do not want to be with mainstream medicine.
Yeah.
I appreciate what you've gone through because you can relate to, us that have gone, are going through it or have gone through it and you're looking for answers. And so you have experience in that, and that's great. But I find interesting the people that I find that are poor in health and they're complaining about this and that. And I tell them, I tried to talk health to Carla's better at it than I am. But they say, I already got a doctor. I mean, why do I need another doctor? I already got a doctor. And what that doctor means to them is somebody that pushes them pills to relieve their aches and pains. And why do I need another doctor? I mean,
right.
And I think insurance is a big factor as well too. It's a lot easier just to put the, to have somebody tell you what to do, and it's a shame that it turned out you shouldn't have listened or you shouldn't have trusted them. It's a lot easier to be push those pills or whatever.
Well, and I think the whole system is set up from the moment you're born.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
that's one of those things. I feel like, somebody has shared with me that from the moment we're born, we're given a birth certificate number. So we're immediately a commodity, not much different than a calf getting a tag in its ear.
Yeah.
And statistically speaking, each one of us has a lifetime value, and that's how things are put together through regulation. So we have requirements for insurance. We have requirements for vaccinations. We have requirements that need to be, weighed, measured, tallied. And it actually has led to a not small movement of American expats going overseas and having affiliated children.
Yeah.
That leads to some problems for them in the future. But it's one of those things that you can't talk about that with just about everyone. There's, the population here is a little more open to some of those other conversations, but I feel like when people are able to connect with somebody who actually sees them for who they are and isn't closed off to listening to their concerns, that opens so many doors and so many opportunities. I don't know everything. I will never know everything. I will do my best to study if I don't understand it, and I'll try to find somebody else who knows better than me. There's some things that I just may not be smart enough to ever grasp, but I will try to find somebody bigger brained than me.
Mm-hmm.
Listening is something that I do my very best to do. Sometimes hearing and listening are two different things. So what I would, really, really, really encourage you to do is in these conversations, when you talk about the community, listen to what they're saying. Is it fear-based? Is it lack of knowledge based? Is it, they just don't want to talk about it? I have found that too. People who want to come work here with me will not be here long if they want me to fix them. If they want me to help them identify what it is they need to do to get better, this is the right place.
Yeah.
But this is not a one-stop pill shop just to get something to make me feel better. And so over the years, we've had a few folks that come and go within a couple months and just not the right place for them. And that's okay. I'm not for everybody, and not everybody's meant to be here. But I do want to make sure as much as possible that the people who are here feel appreciated, feel understood, and are able to have a voice. And so what I'd really love to do, I'm recording this so I can send it out, hopefully through Practice Better, for a link for people to watch that didn't get to attend. I would really love to know if anybody wants to have some group support sessions here. I've tried to do them on Zoom. I have tried to do them in person. What I've recognized is I'm not always the draw. I'm not the entertainment. I'm not the entertainer. I can be a coordinator. I can be an assistant, but I think some people want to hear from other folks going through what they're going through in real time. And I would love to be able to facilitate that for anybody who's wanting, a book club, a podcast club, whatever it takes in order to kind of get the knowledge out there. And I know I'm part of several knowledge sharing groups. The Doctor's Journal Club, they get the highlights for the big things that are important for functional medicine. The IMJC, it's the Integrative Medicine Journal Club. They also highlight the newest, latest, greatest research. I'm part of, this is one that I want everybody to do if they can do it. It's called Heroic. And it is a self-improvement app that the director, owner, whatever you want to call him, he said lead philosopher at this point, he reads really quickly. Like he can process and integrate information. So he's read almost 1,000 books, and he's made Cliff's notes on a philosopher's point, not just like how you'd understand it to pass a test or quiz on it, but he brings up the highlights of each thing on how to improve yourself. So these are Greek philosophers, new science people, the millionaires, billionaires, the scientists, the big heads, the people who are widely influential in humanitarian efforts. It's been a really interesting experience. I started that this week, but I started reading the book called Arete, Arete, last week, and it's 451 chapters, almost 1,000-page book. It's a big fat book, and I was like, I can't read this. I'm not going to sit down and do this. And I finally opened and realized each one of those chapters is 3 to 6 pages long. You read one a day, and you learn by degrees. Each chapter is a single degree. So when we talk about in life making lasting change, we do it 1 degree at a time. Just like driving a ship. If you make a 90-degree turn, you're going to end up way off course. But you course correct by 1 degree every day or every week. And then you're going to be where you want to be. And he chose 451 because that is the temperature at which paper combusts. So he's trying to set fire to the world through this education. And I just thought it was really great. So, I'm finding online communities because that seems to be where a lot of people are able to get together. And that's what I do. So, anybody else have anything they'd like to speak about or share their thoughts on belonging or things that they need?
I just wanted to comment, reading Pam's chat there. She sums it up. She sums it up perfectly for me. I mean, we could have cut to quick a long time ago. Good job, Pam.
Yeah. We'll look into that, Craig. That's great. Again, I don't have to occupy a lot of time, but thank you so much for showing up, because I know I'm where I belong. And every day I'm reminded that even though it's hard, I've been put where I belong. I didn't show up in Manhattan. It was never on my radar. But something landed me here, and I was humbled when some friends of mine told me they'd been praying for me to arrive here for 10 years. I didn't know them. I didn't know who they were. But they said that they had prayed for 10 years for a natural doctor to arrive in Manhattan to help them bring the awareness to the population. And they said, we always envisioned it would be a man who'd be a naturopath, but we got better. You're a woman and you're an osteopath. And so it's a very humbling statement when they shared that with me.
Hmm.
Mhm.
I
But
bet
I
it
am
is.
here because I'm meant to be here and I want to serve however I can serve.
Yeah.
So
One of the things that I'm wondering if you might do, or we might create a community for something that I've really become aware of in these last few weeks is um, understanding some things about um, as you age. Um, and and here I am, in my mid to late 60s and not realizing some things that I should have realized a few years back. And so that's one of the things I guess I'm really trying to understand some things. I missed some markers that were telling me certain things, and I wished I'd have known that. And so that's one of the things I'm thinking of that would be helpful to people.
yeah,
Because I wasn't thinking about, probably because my mother's 90 now and she's really in pretty good shape. Um, but and her parents lived into their late 90s. And so I didn't think I was going to have that many problems. But
right.
here I am with some problems. I've overcome one big one, Lyme disease, but I'm learning more and more things all the time. And I do think that if we can have a community where we can share these things that we're learning, and because there's more and more things that we're understanding, especially like because of the microbiome that was studied and has been out now,
Right.
and how the impact is just it's just shown how much of an impact. We probably need to have just a microbiome community group because that's where it starts.
Right. Well, part of the ongoing, like this whole year, every month, I plan on the third Thursday of the month to do a longevity talk.
Okay.
So probably on the food week or the food month, we'll talk about how important gut health is, and I'll probably bring in some of the quantum metabolic reset digestion stuff that I talked about in that video there. But yeah, with longevity, we would all be better off if in our 20s we listened. We did things, we slept enough, we ate right, we didn't drink too much, we didn't abuse our bodies. We would all be better off. I'm finding we have more and more young people. So here's it's really interesting. I'm getting newborns,
Good.
college girls, and 50-year-old men. Those are some of the biggest new subsets of new patients that are coming in. And I think that's amazing because they're like, I want to live longer, healthier. I want to be the best me I can be. I don't feel too bad right now, but is there anything I can fix so that I can ensure or at least give myself the best opportunity to grow old more powerfully, honestly,
Yeah.
because weak and elderly is not living, in my opinion. I don't want to be 90 and stuck in a chair. I want to be 90 and able to totter around and do whatever I need to do whenever I want to do it and have my mind about me. So,
Mhm.
I'm seeking this out with nootropics. I'm seeking this out with proper food. I'm seeking it out through spiritual practices because my brain and I know my soul and spirit need that nurturing too. And, Pam made this comment here about, it impacts my health to think that it is okay to have a particular symptom. I often wonder, is this symptom okay? And that's as aging. So many Western medicine doctors will say, oh, you're just getting older, get used to it. I call BS.
Mhm.
Just because it does happen doesn't mean it has to happen. We have knowledge, technology, understanding, science. What I love is how much science is proving that nature is the way to go, that we don't have a bunch of pharmaceutical synthetic drugs that are actually helping us live longer. They're making us exist longer, but not be healthy. So I want to truly live. I don't want to exist. So, the next 10 months, I'm planning on teaching on each of these things. So every month, come back. every month, bring a couple friends. I would love to do this in person when the months get warmer. Let's go outside. We've got a patio, you know, we can have a talk then. If it gets to where we can get enough people, maybe we can do something different, you know. Maybe I need to have it at a church or auditorium.
On the detox month, can we all just sit in the sauna, kind of jam in there?
It safely seats 2. Do we need to do that clown car bit and see how many people fit? How about we just do it in August on a 108-degree
There you
day
go.
and we go inside a tent?
Yeah, 130 degrees.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'll do it.
I do appreciate you move this to Thursdays. So,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
No
So
worries.
it seemed like the most benign week. And so I'm going to share, I quit my jail job. Many of you knew that I was working at jails over the last couple of years.
You
And it was a
did.
huge mental drain on me because it was a population who was super ungrateful and did not want to get better.
Mhm.
And that's difficult to turn off that heart and brain.
yeah.
And so I am happy to have let that go past. And it was perfect timing because the company is making a lot of really poor changes, in my opinion. So it's the right timing for me. I'm trusting that here will support my family. So I don't need another job. Amy has moved into doing what she needs to do. So it's me again. So Kate and I are manning the helm, if that's the right phrase. And someday I do want to bring somebody else in that has the same mind, the same desire, the same drive, and the same heart. So that may come in the future, but we're just going to take it easy. So I appreciate each and every one of you. Hey, Sarah, I told everyone earlier what I appreciate about them. So I wanted to share with you what I appreciate about you and your family. And that's your ongoing commitment to the practice here and your willingness to be guinea pigs and to try new things and your trust in me for helping you continue to move on your wellness path. So I think that's good for now. Sarah, you have anything you want to say before we sign off?
No, I just got off work. I was listening to this as I was running to the grocery store. So I'm just very excited. I thank you for inviting me to be a part of it. And yeah, I was hearing out how you
If you're moving, you're cutting out quite a bit.
Oh, sorry. What would I have done this week, for example?
Right.
Right? If I hadn't had you, and I even have an idea where I'm going to message you, and it's a crazy idea, but I have someone I can message as I continue to go down my journey, and somebody who's going to be supportive and open. So
Right.
just wanted to tell you that you are just as appreciated.
Thank you so much. I appreciate all of you. Have a wonderful evening tonight, okay? And next month, third Thursday of the month,
Third Thursday.
coordinate, bring your friends, bring your family, whatever you want. I'd love to get as many people feeling better as possible and living as long and healthy and happy as they can. All right.
All right.
Have a great night, everybody.
Good
Thank
night.
you.